There it is, 2000. A milestone moment for a Pittsburgh icon.
Malkin dusts it off. Right in front. On the chance, backhand score! It's Brian Rust with the goal. Rarefied air, the Hall of Fame career, 1,200 points for Evgeny Malkin.
2nd and 9. Pickett lines up a deep ball. Separation. Touchdown. George Pickens.
Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio right here in the Municipal Building at Bethel Park. Want to thank all of you for watching Comcast 21, only in Bethel Park. Thanks to all of you watching Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between, and the greater Pittsburgh area too. And you know, we're live streaming to YouTube, so we need some subscribers to there. Let me see here. Just checking. We'll have to check that. All right, we're live streaming their YouTube channel on YouTube, so please subscribe. We're like at 140, I think, so we're trying to build that up. Of course, all of you fans that are on Pittsburgh Sportsline Facebook, we appreciate every one of you. Sometimes I don't get your comments, like I can't pull it up right now. Let me see if I can do it now. All right, I'm on there. Ann Harder, happy 12th anniversary, Al. Somebody told your grandma. Diane Mariano Rhodey, thank you. Chuck Chief McElroy, 4 others are... Can't pull them up, so we won't worry about that. But thanks again for watching. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Just all of you sit down for a minute. Smoking Jim's been in the hospital many times. October 5th, he sent me a picture of himself in a hospital bed. Said, "Machine, I just had surgery." So I go, "What kind of surgery?" He goes, and I said, "Prayers." He goes, "Thanks, buddy. The nurses are beautiful." We don't know what surgery. I'm not going to guess. I'm not thinking brain surgery. I'm thinking something with the heart. My guess is, and if he's watching, I hope your pacemaker's working fine now. And he came home today, so I want all of you to keep him in your prayers, because the man of mystery, I respect how private he is, but when you show me a picture in the hospital with you're covered up in certain ways, you know I'm a good guesser, so I'm holding to it. He's my best friend, so I appreciate people with their faults, their attributes, and everything else. Prayers for Smoking Jim. If you're watching, you could call in, and I could answer on the phone, and they would hear me and you through the mic. I heard he might want to talk, Nick. Was there any truth to that?
Yeah, but he hasn't reached out since, so that might not be true. He didn't seem too enthusiastic about it.
I got that. Okay. Ralph Williams says, "Hello, guys." Marla Shatner says, "Happy 12th anniversary." Amy Sliss said, "Get well soon, Smoking Jim." Marla said, "Prayers." Scoop said, she's watching. Marla said, "Get well, Smoking Jim." Scoop said, "Hello, everyone." All right, we caught up on everyone. And like I said, who I am, we got Nick Callis, moved to Smoking Jim's seat. Chip's been doing every other week, and I think he got a message from God last week, because he goes, "Hey, Al, would you mind if I came in to celebrate the 12th anniversary?" And I said, "No, Chip." I told him I thought he was here since the 4th. It's the 3rd show he joined us back 12 years ago, so he's been here almost from the beginning. Me and Smoking Jim are the last of the Mohicans. We started together. So that's where we stand on that. Amy said, "Happy 12th anniversary." Thank you. So Chip foreshadowed, we'll use that word, it's popular. He foreshadowed getting back in his same seat, because Rhodey would have been in the seat. So Chip's back again, and you know, with MLB playoffs, he might talk a little baseball to tease you, so we'll cover that. for Peggy and Nick in Rochester, our biggest fans in Rochester. Your son is going to have a special graphic made for him when
I
it's
can't
his
wait.
time to talk.
So excited.
So we got Michael Rohde here, and here we have a first. We got Michael Rohde's son, Mark Rohde.
Marco.
Marco, sorry, I took the O off. Marco's in the control room, first time ever
Running.
on my 12th anniversary show. The actual date is tomorrow, the 11th. So October 11th, 2011, we debuted. So this is a Pittsburgh Sports Line first. Son in the control room and Dad trying to talk to him, not at him. So we'll cover that. And now it's going to be a little tricky. I like my cake, so I'm going to get some forks and knives on it. Just bear with me. Here's some plates. All right, wait till you see this cake. Little drum roll. All right, I'll try to not, whoa. Let me do this.
Please
Got
don't
it?
let it see the floor.
Whoa. You want to set this behind me?
Yeah.
All right, this is special. Now, this is going to be difficult. This is a first for Johnny Mariano. 12th anniversary cake. Let's see if he can pull up on this. And I asked for
There
special
it is.
dark yellow. That is great, Johnny. Way to go. I asked for black roses, because whoever asks for black roses on a cake like this to celebrate, right? And that's what we got. All right, now I got to do the honors. Cake for everybody, even for lactose intolerant Nick. He can take it home if he wants or not.
I'll do the post game with the cake.
All right,
Post show.
I'll cut a couple slices in there.
Oh my! Look at the amount,
Yeah,
of, look at the amount of frosting
Al
on
loves
those corners.
slices.
Yeah,
Big slices.
well, I'm a big slice guy. Mike, do you want the first one?
Oh, sure. Why not? Oh my goodness, that's like more icing than I eat in a year.
Me too. I don't eat a lot of this, but here,
More?
I'll give you more. I don't care if you're from Rochester, like we discussed. You're a Pittsburgh guy.
I am
now.
not from Rochester.
We have to clarify all this. And this is live TV, folks. Nick will pass this down to you. You can take whatever you want. We'll get Chip in there. He likes chocolate, and I have to apologize. I did to him. Smoking Jim and I like the white batter. And
Just like he likes white cornerbacks, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you the extra.
If it's white, it's all right. Woo.
There you got all the extra there.
Yeah.
Give you a fork.
Heck yeah, Alan.
And I don't eat cake much, but you see, I took care of myself. I'm honored and blessed to have this show. And my goodness,
You gave yourself just a giant chunk
Here.
there.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
jeez.
Right?
Oh, jeez. Going back for more.
I'm sugared out.
Yeah, Alan will be running around like JoJo the wind-up monkey.
If you need napkins, you got them.
Thank you.
I know I need them. Well, I'm glad we could entertain you with that, but we have our promos coming up right now. I didn't want to cut the cake during the promos. I figured you'd enjoy us and me. Oh, it's back on. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com.
Hey Bethel Park, Salty Skeleton here, and I want to remind you to come out to the Bethel Park Public Works Halloween Parade on October 28th. In the meantime, I'll be hiding out in different places around Bethel Park. If you find me, come and take a selfie and post it to your favorite social media site, and see if your friends and neighbors can find me too. So I'll see you October 28th at the Halloween Parade. In the meantime, keep a lookout for me because I'll have my eyes on you. Ha 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 ha.
Help save Pittsburgh police officer Jeffrey Crawford. Jeffrey is in need of a kidney donation. He's in stage 5 renal failure and he's on dialysis 3 times a week. He needs this kidney ASAP. To contact the UPMC donor registry, call 412-647-4438 or go to livingdonorreg.upmc.com. And to help spread awareness, use the hashtag BlessJeff on socials. Let's come together to support Pittsburgh policeman Jeffrey Crawford in his time of need. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org. Zhang Taekwondo just opened a new location in the South Hills. For the warning, folks, we appreciate it's live TV. You're welcome, Scoop. Peggy said, congratulations, Al. Enjoy watching your celebration. Handsome panel, Nick and Peggy from Rochester. And Michael wasn't born there. I got that clear now. Where were you born so we can put that out
I was born in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, right in the middle of the state. That's where I was actually born. Raised in Bradford, Pennsylvania.
Is that Clinton County?
Clearfield County, right in the middle of the state, pretty much.
I drive through
up by
it.
Du Bois.
I drive through it on my way to Maine.
All right, David Gaudio's watching. Thank you. Paul Haley, congratulations, Al, on your 12th anniversary. Thank you. Paul Mercurio's watching. Teresa Mariano, congratulations, Al, and many more. Jamie Minu, donate to Albert Tripp, please. Johnny Mariano, how is he watching? He's on camera. We're going to have to make sure about that. All right. We don't have Smoking Jim here. I didn't bring my green pen. What's on your mind? Wait 1 second. He's hooked up. Nick Callis.
Oh, lots on my mind right now. A lot going on. But I'm personally excited that Big Mike's got a graphic now, and he's being embedded into the show. So that is exciting. Hey, there we go. Okay.
There. Thank you. I looked good there while I was cleaning my teeth.
So
I appreciate this live TV.
now let's make this a little more of a joint effort, because I saw a social media post the other day, I think yesterday, and Chris Boswell was involved, and he was talking about Canada was giving the other coaches a hug, and they were walking through the tunnel, and somebody got a video of Boswell saying, "It wasn't because of you, that's for sure." Did that happen? Was that recent, or was that years ago, or did that happen?
I had heard, I think that was earlier in the season.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
Okay, because I just saw it, and I'm like,
It's still applicable, though.
Yeah. Now I like Chris
I
Boswell.
like your verbiage.
And I think Chris Boswell can get away with doing this stuff because who cares? I mean, he's a kicker. I mean, it's not technically a part of the offense.
Good.
I mean, technically he is a part of the offense, but also Matt Canada doesn't really coordinate what a field goal unit is.
Danny Smith does, the legendary, why is he even there, Danny Smith?
Well, there you go. But
It slipped out, sorry.
but,
I'm trying to stick with you.
Yeah, so watching that made me giggle. And also I just realized something as well. When we talk about potentially bringing Andrew McCutchen back to the Pirates as the offseason continues, I'm all for it. And I'm even more for it now, though, because I forgot almost as the Steelers season kind of flooded us that he's still at 299 home runs. We got to get that 300. I don't care if he retires the day after he gets 300, but we got to get that. We got to get that in the Pirates uniform. We got 2,000 hits. We need 300 home runs. So if there's only one reason to bring him back, do it for that. But I also, this is a stretch, and I know there's much pessimism, or there's, we've experienced 45 years-ish of this, and I get that. But
How can I not?
I want him so badly to experience a World Series. Now, are the Pirates there? Maybe not. I hold high hopes, but they always, crush me, and so I think I'm getting into the routine now that Al's been warning me about, where you get your hopes up just to get crushed. But
He owes me a quarter, so I'm ready to crush
I
him,
do owe him
too.
a quarter.
This is 2 weeks now.
But yeah, so I'd love to see him win a World
Sugared up.
Series, and perhaps it could be one of those, fantasy fairy tale stories where in his last year he's part of the Pirates team that ends up winning the World Series. And there's been plenty of veterans on teams before that have recently won World Series, so there's no reason why he couldn't. And I would hope, just in my mind, that could be a possibility. So I'm holding hope out for that. And then Chip was showing me scores while we were cutting the cake, And the Astros are winning, 9-1 was the last one I saw, and that
Yes.
makes me angry. I don't like the Astros. I don't hate them as much as I used to. I did a whole thing before about why I've forgiven them, but I still don't like them, and they've won 2 World Series already in the last 6 years. So I'm not a fan.
They won one and stole one.
Now that we'll go with that, sure. But they still won one legitimately, and I feel bad for the Twins almost because they didn't win anything in the playoffs in years before this year. So good for them, and they got the win put back in Twins. So congratulations to them for that. I really want to see them kind of go on though, but it's an entertaining series too. I mean, baseball's got all kinds of entertainment. And Correa on the Twins getting to play against his former team to see who could be great. That's a good series, and most of the other series too have been pretty solid and pretty entertaining. So that's great. And later on, I'm gonna talk about the Steelers. So we'll get to that in the VIP time. But that's what's on my mind right now.
Thank you, Nick. And I'll co-sign the Andrew McCutchen for the 300 homer, and he can retire anytime. Like I said, I'm worker-friendly, player-friendly. If you can retire and get a $5 million bonus retiring in Pittsburgh, I'm all for it. And he surprised some of us with what he did, but he is older and ready to retire. So 300 sounds good for me, whether it's April or July. I don't care.
Indeed.
So I'm good. Shout out to Michael on here. Oh, Ann Harder, your mother-in-law, said Johnny multitask. I was just kidding because we have a standard rule here, Ann, that we focus on the cameras. Michael's at number 13 with being in the top 10. Johnny's not close to that yet. So there's competition in the studio, and we're sports guys. So I did want to share that Noah and Sydney are watching. Noah's first time, so shout out to you. And then Michael's bragging he got other friends watching. Well, it's not bragging to me because it's my show. We're in the 12th year, so you bring whoever you want here. And if you like what you see here, and we do talk sports, not just cake and who's on the camera. So we will cover that. Chip Hayner, sorry to take that time. No smoking, Jim, but we filled in nicely. What's on your mind?
Well, you didn't have to file any disclaimers yet today.
No, it's rare.
Because, Jim has a tendency to bend the truth. I don't say break it, but slightly bend it.
Well, it's how it appears to him, and none of us look at things that way.
Yeah, well.
Just to be clear.
Okay. So what's on my mind? And, an ugly Steelers win on Sunday.
Oh.
And let me tell you something, just my humble opinion. I'll take 8 or 10 more of them. Okay? As ugly as you want to make them, I'll take every win they get. But
well, 10 would be 13.
What's on my mind tonight is we start the adventure for the 2023-2024 Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby and the gang, including oh my goodness, the new guy, Erik Karlsson. They start their journey this year, and I'm a little bit skeptical about the Pittsburgh Penguins. I will mention this. I will absolutely root for them to bring home another cup. I'm skeptical because of moves that were made. They did revamp the team, and I did think that was a smart thing. I think bringing in another offensive defenseman, I hope it works out for them. I felt that the Penguins really needed another defensive defenseman because I thought the reason the Penguins didn't make the playoffs last year was the poor quality of their defense last year.
Well, Chip, to interrupt you, the third and fourth line defensemen, that's where we needed a big improvement.
Well, and you know what? And how is this season going to play out? Because the team that we're starting the season with is not going to be the team that we're potentially going to take into the playoffs. Now,
Great
a 16-year run of making the playoffs every year got broken last year, so I'm thinking that maybe we'll have some more highly motivated veterans. Now, the thing I'm questionable about, Will Crosby, Will Malkin, Will Letang, will they play 82 games again this year? They're a little longer in the tooth.
First ever for Crosby and Malkin, 82 games.
So, I want nothing good for them. I think one of the most exciting things that's going to happen down at the paint can tonight is that Eric Bedard is going to make his NHL debut. And he is supposed to be another one of these generational players like Connor McDavid, like Sidney Crosby. And you look at him, and he looks like he's 12 years old. I mean,
I saw an interview with Sid, and I go, "What grade is he in?"
Well, you know what? We're going to find out because he's going to go to the school of hard knocks because in the NHL, they introduce you to what it's like to play in the bigs. And there's going to be some thumping going on. And even though the Penguins are not a very physical team. But, can Tristan Jarry be the number one goaltender that the Penguins need him to be? And can he stay healthy long enough to make a difference? Now, not so much in the regular season, but what the Penguins need if they're going to get anywhere in the playoffs is for him to be healthy at the end of the season. So there's a lot of question marks going into the season. I am going into it optimistically, hoping that the Penguins make the playoffs. Once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Look, the number 8 seed made it to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. And a lot of people are picking the Penguins as the 8th seed in the East. And I'm hoping that this is the motivation they need to rise to the challenge. But that's what's on my mind this week.
Well, thank you, Chip. We appreciate it. Ann is on fire. She says, love Kutch. So we're good there. Frank Mana's watching. Thank you. And Dave Cable, director of BPTV. Yay! Dave, do you want a slice of cake to split among your wife Nora and your 2 boys? I'll give you 1 slice. If you want a piece, I can leave you 4 cuts. I'm generous.
Well done.
And I'm all sugared up, so I'm a little shaky right now. Let's go to Michael Rohde on what's on your mind.
All right, well, it's got to be about the Steelers, right? I agree. Take them as you can. I would say if they don't win another game this year, it was worth it just to watch that insanity that was. I mean, it goes classic Steelers-Ravens game, right? I mean, it may be the last game they win.
I have a comment on that in mind, and I'll explain something about that.
All right.
Why it was exceptional for just how we look in general.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the dread we had with Lamar Jackson coming in. I don't want to tease anymore, but you can carry on.
Yeah, let's face it. And probably what you're going to, I don't want to, sense where you're going.
You can steal it.
The Ravens basically said, here's the game. Let's drop 3 touchdown passes and trip and fall all over the place.
And a total of 7 altogether.
But listen, the Steelers have a lot of problems. This much is clear. But I'm going to tell you exactly what their biggest problem is and why. And I did a little bit of research. And I looked at the Steelers drafts. In 2010, they got Pouncey. In 2012, they got DeCastro and created a foundational offensive line that was tremendous. Very, very good line.
Right.
Since then, in every draft, in the first 3 rounds of every draft, they've taken 2 offensive linemen, a grand total of 2 offensive linemen. In 2018, they took Chooks, who was an admitted project at the time, and in my opinion, a failed project. And in 2021, in the 3rd round, they took Kendrick Green. And the only reason they did that is because the aforementioned Pouncey retired out of the blue, and they were stuck.
Yeah.
So now what they're left with, basically, is Chooks on the right side, 3 guys in the middle that they did not draft or develop, all right? And everybody talked like we signed Anthony Munoz when they got the kid from Philly this year.
Yes.
Let me tell you, in the NFL these days, people do not let their best players walk. They re-sign them. It doesn't happen. These guys are too good with the cap. Okay, we learned this the hard way with all the Jacksonville inside linebacker cast-offs. When, geez, we got this guy, Schobert, and this is going to save the world.
And to interrupt you, we did make
and then Miles Jack.
We did make a couple. I forget the linebacker that we had who was disgruntled and went to Kansas City and won the Super Bowl.
Disgruntled.
We didn't play him, and he made great plays in the playoff. Because I watched it and I'm like,
what I'm saying is that teams don't let their best players go. And Ciamalo, in my opinion, he's good. And I think what made him good is he was around really good offensive linemen and left and the right of him. And then all of a sudden he has his best game. Why? Because Broderick Jones, not Dan Moore is playing left tackle. Now all of a sudden Ciamalo has right, exactly. Yeah. So I really think if they're going to do anything, because if you watch everything that they do, it's because the offensive line's bad. Pickett's running for his life. Well, he needs to stand in the pocket. That's tough to do when nobody's getting blocked. Why is Harris only getting met at the line? Because they can't block.
Well, he's
And-
getting
and-
in the backfield, like I explained the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And whatever Nick's watching, he didn't see that, but I've seen it even this last game.
You
Just
can do
against the
do
Raiders.
anything you want in this league with a good offensive line. You can do
They ran
anything
every
you want.
play.
It makes the running game work. It makes the passing game work. In turn, that makes the defense work. In my opinion, I could be wrong. Believe it or not, it's happened before. That I've always said the offensive line I would draft an offensive lineman at least in the second round every year if I was a general manager. And I think that's why they were they are.
The problem's twofold. And the offensive line has been a problem, and it has been for years. But also, the strength of your offensive line and your defensive line dictate what your offense and defense. Now, if you're not, why are we having difficulty stopping the run? Because of the defensive line. You need the people in there. You need
Both
the
our
run
lines are
stoppers.
not good.
Both lines need help.
With
There's no
the
doubt.
defensive line, I agree with you 100%. That's second important. The difference there is that there's so many different ways of playing defense, right? You can play 4 down linemen. You can play 1, right? And then you can really mix it up. But with the offense, it's always a guard or
You need
center.
5.
You need
But see,
5.
with the defense, here's the problem. What did Houston do that was successful against Pittsburgh's defense? They doubled Highsmith, they doubled Watt,
And they
which
ran
means
screens.
that your defensive linemen have to provide the pressure that your ends were not because they were doubled. Because that means that your defensive linemen are man on man. Okay.
Absolutely.
And they weren't, and they did not get it done.
Listen, this league is unlike the NHL. This league, the NFL, is built for offense. It's built for offense. You can't rely on the Steeler defense to shut everybody down every week. It's not going to happen.
No steel curtain anymore?
It doesn't matter. Those days are
Nick,
gone.
you saw it in
Those days
games,
of those kind of
and you've
defenses
heard
are
about
gone.
it.
Yeah. I mean, it's-
R.I.P.
They were
Rest in
truly
peace.
great, and the memories linger with all of us older people. And Mike's approaching us older guys, but not yet. But no, you're so right. I played offensive line, and I'll give one secret. When we were first taught in high school, they go stand in front of a guy. Now, my problem with the Steelers for years, how do you have all these guys that went through high school, college, and pro, and guys are in the backfield? And I disagree with Nick on some of them, whatever team. But when you see 2 to 4 guys, and they blame Najee, well, I'd be upset. Look at his body language on the sideline. Look at that when he comes out after these plays, and he tries, but how do you run with 3 guys on you on a handoff?
They must have gone to Gateway.
Shout out to Smoking Jim. No, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it, and I'll get started on this because we got a streak going. Oh, Paul Haley has a comment. After the Pickens TD, Canada looked like a deer in the headlights when they put the camera on them. Did you notice that the last 3 or 4 games they put the camera on them 3 to 7 times during a game, and all we see is that stoic look?
I can't
Well,
believe
it's
that's
better than
I can't
Taylor
believe that's a
Swift any
story.
day.
I was
Thank
just going
you.
to say.
Thank you.
Why is that a story?
Thank you.
That Matt Canada didn't have reaction to the time. Who cares?
Hold on. Everybody's leaving out. They're all posting the video. They're doing it to create that controversy. He's literally moving before they cut away. You can't make an accurate
that's
assessment of
so-
that.
it's
Pickett, even
nonsense.
before he celebrated, was looking for flags. That's usually what you do on the offense. You make sure. No flags, no flags. Okay. Yay! So, dumb story. Thank you.
Well,
I'm sorry.
to continue
It's a
with
non-story.
Paul, he goes, did Pickett call an audible and surprised everyone, especially Canada?
It's
Looked
possible.
like it. Well, here's what did happen from what I heard today, that they adjusted the line blocking, and Pickett adjusted the route for Pickens.
Okay, but the end of that story is that was something that they had been working on in practice
Well,
all
yeah.
week. So they had practiced him going up to the line and changing the call, which is the reason why it worked, because it wasn't the first time they were asked to do it.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Like, we're a little naive, and we reminisce about everything, Nick. And
Sure.
Joe Green, the whole line that we have, 5 guys couldn't block him. Just so you know, that's how good he was, and that's when I became a fan in '69, because I saw the passion and the physical ability. Dave Cable says, "Sure, with cake." All right, I'll cut you 4. I'll cut you 4 slices. Put it in the box on your desk tomorrow, Dave. Then Dave makes a great comment for all the Steeler fans and us. Canada is also at work. And my point to Dave's point is he's not just looking at that play, he's looking at future plays that he must put in whenever they get the ball back or while they're running series. So when they show him, it's like putting Taylor Swift on the screen. It doesn't mean anything to us.
Yes.
All right, now I got to get into my diatribe here. We're on a streak we see ugly wins. And then we all had trepidations about could we even win when they said how great Lamar's doing and how he got all these weapons even though a couple were hurt and then they're coming back. Well, we always played down to the level of our competition. Mike will know it, Chip will know it. Nick's only,
I know it.
Nick's
Yeah,
only 24,
No,
so
but
I want him to make a comment.
I saw those teams after 2015. They lost to some winnable teams.
Okay, so 8 years he has the witness of it, and I'm not going to brag about longer, but we're known as playing down to the level of competition. Well, guess what? God smiled on the Steelers and said, I'll let the Ravens play down to their level and do worse. And that's a little of my sarcasm. They did worse, and like they're blaming Lamar. Well, they had blocked for him, and he had to run out of a pocket, and who's our guy that slapped the ball loose? He was actually running for his life. How was that his fault? Yeah. So, I mean, there's some things that were prejudiced one way or the other. And then how does Pickens get six? We okay over there, Johnny? He gets 6 passes for 130 yards. And then I noticed the middle of the field, I don't know, maybe you guys know, how many passes did we throw to the middle of the field?
Nothing.
Was it 0 or 1?
Nothing. It's unbelievable that they can't work the middle of the
game.
field.
I was watching the game you watched, and I don't drink the Kool-Aid for the Steelers after the first game. I saw the wide open center of the field, 5 to 10 yards all game long. So what do? Pickens, go down 20 yards, 30 yards on a go route. Okay, how many yards after a catch? Nothing. And what do they talk about? We want yards after a catch, the yak. So they didn't have that in the game plan. And then Pickett, whether he's afraid or not, when you're blocking, you'll block guys to a certain point and he comes 3 or 4 yards back. Well, then when they come back a little bit, all he has to do is step up and try to throw, but he is worried, so he just throws a bad ball. How many bad balls did he throw out there because of that? When you would normally, I watched other games, and when I see the top echelon of quarterbacks, they're in the back where they're blocking because they're all about 7 yards back, 5 yards back. Then as the movement is there, defensive line's doing their stunts, the guy steps up where he's a yard away from the line, and he's throwing a pass right in the middle of the field. I don't see that play in our playbook, Canada.
Well, to kind of speak to that point, I mean, the two people that would occupy the center of the field, one of them is going to be back to play against Los Angeles, and the other one was on the sideline, Freiermuth, because he's injured.
Well, Deontay.
But if you did notice, what they did do was they opened up the offense a little bit, and
I was going to get to that.
In the second half, and they started moving the ball. Okay, in which, it didn't produce a lot of points. It didn't actually produce a touchdown until,
the end.
The end
Last
of the game.
minute, yeah.
But I mean, but they were having more success with the offense in the second half than they did in the first.
Well, like we have this disease, and I'll call it a disease because I don't want to blame Tomlin. He's above reproach, and he's very arrogant. He's been that way, so I expect that. But how can we consistently start slow in every game? Tell me the last game that we started quick.
I couldn't name it.
I think it's over a year.
I agree.
Yeah.
So when you have that, just like the season, when they were 2-6, then they went 7-2. Okay, who's the coach all year? How do we start each half so slow? And then lo and behold, the defense played well in the second half. Chip already brought up my line. The offense played better. And Jaylen Warren, whether you like him or not, I think he's just lucky because I notice a little different blocking when he's in for whatever reason.
And that's a really good point because when he had a 3-play sequence where he gained about 49 or 50 yards, and George Pickens threw 2 excellent blocks on back-to-back plays.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there grabbing my wife's arm. I was like, "You seen him? I'm watching number 14 on the replay. He actually stuck his head in there and made excellent blocks and prevented people from tackling him."
Well, I saw Broderick Jones make a couple blocks for Warren also when he was going that way. What did I see for Najee? They run him a little different as a back. Like Jalen mixes it up a little. He's got the speed and power. And Najee, how did he get 1,000 yards the first year, 1,000 yards the second year?
He's 700 carries.
Yeah, and he was catching passes. Now, how did they go away from throwing the ball to Najee? You're not running him very well. Throw that darn -1 yard pass or +1 yard to Najee. He'd be out in space, just in my theory. Maybe he could take 3 steps.
What I'd like to see them start the game with, everybody knows the Steelers are going to run off one of the tackles or the first play of the game.
Yeah.
How about a play-action pass? Go deep. You've got a couple of burners. You've got Calvin Austin. You've got George Pickens. Send them both deep. They're not going to be able to double cover both of them. Throw the ball up and let one of them run under it.
No, I agree with that. And I'll just say it's frustrating watching their games. But here's what I say. Every win, we cherish it. If we get 10 more, Chip, we'll have 13 wins.
Well, I'll tell you. Hey, the Ravens gifted us that game, but that's something that always happens in Ravens games. And I just wonder
traditional.
If the Baltimore fans were calling for John Harbaugh or his offensive coordinator to be fired because, now when you can't blame the quarterback for the receivers dropping so many passes, so can you blame the offensive coordinator? Because I know they would have done that here, without any question of a doubt. I mean, it was actually so comical that on a play where they were supposed to draw the Steelers off sides on 4th down, they didn't know what to do, and they ended up having to snap the ball, and we got the ball back.
It's had a mess.
Well, they talk about Harbaugh being such a great coach. After their performance, you got to put a black mark against them that he's not that great of a coach.
He's got flaws
how about time
the same way
management?
our coaches do. He's got flaws, and so does his staff.
I don't even want
divisional games. You never know.
Well, I don't want to mention mismanagement of clocks by both sides, but we see that regularly.
Well, we tried to give it back to them at the end of the game.
Yes, we did.
And thank God for Joey Porter Jr.
Well, that was what I wanted to end this on. I even posted on Facebook that he got his first interception. He tied what he did at Penn State for 4 years. So he's ahead of schedule in the pros. So is that potential? Yes. I'll end with my diatribe there, but I tried to cover almost every aspect except the time mismanagement.
Then Chooks going off sides on a kneel down?
Don't even tell me that. That goes under the broad category mismanagement of time.
I thought I had seen it all.
No, that's great. All right.
The best is yet to come.
Nick Rohde's watching. Amy said she agrees. Chief McElroy says they won because Tomlin had them practice in pads. LOL.
Yeah.
Also, bad clock management. Thank you, Chief. You were right there. Johnny Aguilar, he's watching. Thanks for watching. And we're going to move on to VIP time.
All right, speaking of time management, let's make this quick because we're running out of it. Rough game, interesting game. The Steelers won, obviously. So, a lot of things in that. Now, I didn't even believe because I came to the game to watch the game at halftime because I was working here and then I was there at halftime and I'm like, oh, wow, it's 10-3. I'm upset because the Steelers still haven't scored. And then I got to watch all of the beautiful things that happened in the second half of the game that I don't have any words for them. It's like on one side again, the Steelers are 3-2 in the first place. On the other end, the Steelers aren't going to win the Super Bowl with this team, and we know that. And I do, sarcastically, I'm crying about the steel curtain, but I do acknowledge that in an offensive league, relying on your defense is not sustainable. Now, to the Steelers' credit, other than those two teams that ran the ball down their throats, the defense has been sustainable. They scored how many? One touchdown. I think that pass to Pickens was the only touchdown they had in the game. One was there was 2 points scored on a blocked punt, right?
Yes.
The defense scored the other one. So
how did they outscore the offense?
it's
part of a game?
just nuts. It's all nuts. It's all crazy that the Steelers have 3 wins based on their defense carrying the weight in the games. I don't understand.
Nick, did you notice I didn't even bring up that we're in first place?
So, right, they are, and that now they have 2 tiebreakers against 2 divisional opponents, which is great.
2-0 then for all you fans.
And the Bengals are in last place, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of great. So, I mean, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm just in a really numb position right now where I know the Steelers really aren't going to win the Super Bowl with this team, but like, how are they where they are? And maybe if they fire Canada at the bye and do a little reset, maybe they will be a team that can make adjustments and become a legitimate threat. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know anything. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and I watched what happened in that game and I don't know anything. I like you're talking about an offsides or a false start on a kneel down play. I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know that I know anything anymore, and I really got to study some of the things you don't think about, like stuff like that, or a bunch of safeties and the offense not being able to score. It's all nuts. And I also still promote bring Mojo back. Make Mojo a thing, because Mike Tomlin was super arrogant about, okay, there was no Mojo. We were just kidding. I just wanted to feed you something. Then they got spanked by the Texans, and then they had no Mojo in the game against the Ravens, but maybe Mojo luck got them a win because that game was nuts. I don't even know what the opinion is. It's just the game was nuts. That's the opinion. The end. Thank you.
And Mojo disappeared because Tomlin brought it up.
Bring it back, though. Make it a thing.
He got called out on it because he must have been watching a movie with Mojo in it, we all know.
Perhaps.
That's what he watched.
But make it a thing. I'm just saying, he doesn't have to acknowledge it, but make it a thing. Maybe they'll do better. And, even if he doesn't believe in the intangibles like that, to do it for our pleasure as fans.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
George Gallus is watching. Paul Haley, Ravens helped us with drop passes for sure.
Indeed.
7-0.
Judge Ron Arnone, our friend. Johnny Mariano, excellent camera work.
It's suspect this week, if you ask me.
Jeez.
I'm not questioning you one bit, Judge Arnone. He works for you, so you got diplomatic immunity on Pittsburgh Sportsline. And we're going to go to Chip Hayner and trivia time. 10 seconds.
All right. Well, everybody, before I get into I'm going to make this short and sweet so that we got plenty of time for everybody else. But, the interesting thing that I look at is that if you look at the last 15 games that the Steelers have played, they're 10-5. Did anybody ever stop to think about that for a minute?
I did for a minute.
All I hear is constant negative criticism about the coaching staff, the players, whatever. And they won 10 games out of 15. So just everybody chew on that.
Do you think they're going to win a Super Bowl?
He said no.
Well, there you go.
Well, no, here's what. I will say this much. I will say the Steeler team will be better in December than it is right now. Okay?
All right, we got that
so
on.
we will see improvement. So
we got that on film.
Quickly on trivia time. Everybody was talking about Andrew McCutchen, and nobody wished him a happy birthday, damn it. 37 years old today, October 10th, Andrew McCutchen's birthday. I just want to say thank you very much for everything Andrew McCutchen has done for the city of Pittsburgh, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and their fan base, and I hope we see you next year.
And for himself, living in Pittsburgh with his family.
Okay? So
we
happy
salute
birthday,
you. Happy birthday,
Kutch. Andrew, and welcome back, okay? So, no, I don't have any inside information. And last but not least, one of the truly great players in NFL history who I got to watch play as a young boy, and he was an absolute animal. And he epitomized what being a monster of the Midway was. Dick Butkus passed away last Thursday,
May he
and
rest
he
in peace.
was a man among men.
Yes, he was.
And if you ever want to see the way football used to be played and the game of football that Jim Frazier loves still,
Yeah.
watch his highlights, because he didn't just try to tackle people.
He hurt
He
people.
tried to screw them into the ground. You know, he was just an amazing football player, and there was one reason he was put on this earth. And it was to play middle linebacker.
Well, I'll put one comment out. I was talking with a couple friends. You know, we talk sports all the time. We were reminiscing, Nick, and we said when we first watched Butkus come on the scene, he would actually try to hurt people. He'd tackle them around the head
And twist them.
twist and pull their helmets over their face.
Well, thank goodness they can't do
And
that anymore.
So I,
Thank-
well, let alone the head slaps. But then the other thing, like I was watching the commentators on ESPN, they said he's truly a guy that could play in any era. Well, I put a disclaimer on that, Chip.
Oh, he made Vontez Burfict look like a clean football
Here's
player.
why he couldn't play now.
He'd be playing for free.
His first game, he would be suspended because he wouldn't go off the field for a penalty. He may have attacked a referee. That's how tough he was. He may have bit a lineman just to get on the field again. But the way he hit, when you see it, just watch the video. Chip's right, and I'm going to defer to. We got Raging Roadie time.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, Nick. Thanks to Nick.
Well, yeah, Nick asked me a couple of weeks ago. He wanted to take some pictures and do a promo. And he said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, my fantasy football team name for 25 years has been Road Rage. And Nick's eyes just lit up. He's like, oh, come over here and
you
start
see
posing like you're angry.
And you did.
And I did.
You were a good actor.
Well done. Well done. I know we're pressed. I got a couple things real quick.
You
First
got a
of
few
all,
minutes. You got
okay.
3 solid minutes, maybe 4.
So first of all, my favorite movie of all time is Pulp Fiction, and I love the Jules Winfield quotes. And I will, his words of wisdom, I'm going to share with all of those who say Steelers are in first place. What are we complaining about? And I quote, "You want to play blind man? Go walk with the shepherd. But me, my eyes are wide, blank, and open." So that basically
I
means
love the movie too. Yeah.
that basically means we can talk about they're in first place, this and that. Good luck with that. Good luck with your defense, with you only scoring 1 touchdown a game and your defense outscoring everybody. I'm on record on this show saying they were going to start 2-4 and yet win a playoff game.
Yes, you did.
I did.
I recall.
So they're a little ahead on the record, but they're way behind on the development. You know, when they keep running these Thursday night South Dakota State take 2 steps this way and throw to a guy who ran a 3-yard pattern and Kenny throws it 5 yards over his head, I'm like, what are we doing here? Is it too much to ask for a varsity offense in the NFL? When's the last time we saw it? Back when we had Lev Bell and Antonio Brown and Ben in his prime?
Yeah.
Since then, it's been just garbage. I mean, the expectations now are like, they scored a first down, I'm jumping up and down. I'm losing my mind. I'm chugging a beer because they got a first down.
Wait a minute. When they had 3 first downs, I told my wife to buy tickets to Las Vegas.
Seriously.
We're going to in February.
I mean, the expectations. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was thrown for 270 yards in the first half in his prime. And now they're getting 70 yards total in the first half. I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't know what the problem is. I'm not going to sit here and say it's this or that. I don't know. I'm just about tired of it. And
here's what happened.
I'm talking tough, like I'm going to stop watching. Give me a break.
I'm
But
gonna use
it's
a Tomlinism.
ridiculous.
The standard is the standard. The rubber will hit the road, and the next man up.
Wait.
Guess what? They aren't good.
I don't think I don't. One more thing. Excuse me. For the first time, I will say I don't think he'll survive this. Even if they
You
stagger
heard it
to
here
like
first.
an 8-9, 9-8, I don't think he'll survive this. And I think they need to change. I love Mike Tomlin. I said it before. He's a great leader, but I think they need to change. Right now, he knows he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
whatever he wants. And they need someone in there who's can be more accountable to the team, in my opinion.
Here's
Rhodey
one thing-
Rage. Good
here's
first
one
She
thing I
said
take-
Brody's raging.
Here's one thing I take exception to, and I was, from the day he started, I was never a Ben Roethlisberger fan, and everybody talks about Ben Roethlisberger in his prime with Antonio Brown and Lev Bell, but then Ben Roethlisberger in his prime from 2010 until he retired didn't win a damn thing.
Oh, come on now.
And he didn't.
Oh.
Show me
Three
what.
playoff
No.
games.
Yeah.
He went on 3 playoff
They
games.
they would have. Well, there was they lost.
No, that's
they had
Apparently
so many
that's
injuries in the
mediocrity.
playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what
going to
they go
blame
for.
any of that on Ben. The guy is a Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback.
I do.
And
because he didn't prepare the way you saw Tom Brady and Peyton Manning prepare because he look at what he
This
did.
will be a
Can I
good
say
stop.
He did the last
Speaking
two
of which, can I-
playoff
Let
games.
Al
He
get
threw
to his
nine
hold on.
interceptions.
Let Al get to his segment. We don't have to time.
All
that.
right, sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say
Ben-
how
Ben
happy I
Roethlisberger's
am
not
that,
Tom
that,
Brady.
that,
Great
that the
take,
Patriots, Belichick, is falling off.
Well-
God, we're out of control. Sorry.
On a side thing before mine, now the question is, did Tom Brady make Belichick one of the greatest coaches? Because what's
Yes.
happened in the 5 years? I concur with that theory. Now we're going to go on location. It'll be short and brief. And Ann Harder loved the Rhodey Rage.
Yay, good.
Dave Cable. Ben is the Randy Moss of quarterbacks.
Ooh, hot take.
Good one. Paul
I'm not
Hay-
sure how to take that.
Paul, we'll take it for what it's meant. Paul Haley, Rhodey Rage is on fire. Pete Kasich's watching. On location, we're going to do boxing, Millvale, VFW there. 6 o'clock on Saturday. Nick and I are going to film and announce. Nick will be filming. He'll be multitasking, as all of you notice. He does it each week here. So we'll do it without Smoking Jim. We miss him. They'll be disappointed, Ray Schaefer Boxing Association, but they love our shows, and we'll be live streaming it. So all of you on Pittsburgh Sportsline, you can see it. If you're on YouTube, we'll be live streaming there also. I want to thank all of you for your comments. Thanks to Johnny. Thanks for Michael. Thanks for Marco. First time in the control room.
Good job,
Got a
buddy.
good son. He did well. Please
Stay
stay
Joey.
Joey strong. It got away from him.
Sorry, guys.
Are we still on? Hello? Turn down the sound.